This is chapter 7, where we are going to add our restaurant detail page. So this is where we are updating our controller for the restaurant list. So to start off, I did the import already. So I'll just be explaining the code going down. So right now we have public class restaurant list controller. This just handles all the requests related to the restaurant. Here we have private read-only restaurant list context. This is the private field to hold the database context. Another restaurant list controller, restaurant list context. This is a constructor and it receives the database context via the dependency injection, and it also allows the controller to access the database. And then over here we have public async task action result. This is an action method for the restaurant list page, and it retrieves all the restaurants from the database asynchronously, and it's going to pass them into the index.view. So not dot view, just index view. And then we have our return. So this query, this just queries the restaurant's tables and the convert, and it resolves it into a list. And then over here we have our await. It's going to query and run it asynchronously, so there's nothing that blocks it. Over here, right, so we have public async task action result details. Now, this is an action method for the restaurant detail page. Now, this is where we made our updates, and it's going to retrieve a single restaurant by its ID, and it's going to include its related dishes. And here we have our if statement. So if the ID is null, it's going to return not found. So if no ID is provided, it's going to say nothing is found. There's no results. And then over here we have var restaurant or wait context restaurants. So this is a query for the restaurant table, and then it also includes related restaurant dishes and dish in the entity with the unique ID over here. So we have another if statement. If the restaurant is null, it's going to return not found. So if there's no restaurant that is found with a given ID, it will return not found. And then lastly, it's going to pass it. So we have the return view restaurant, and it's going to pass the restaurant object into the details view. So that is what our controller is doing. So it's going to accept an ID parameter, which is the restaurant's ID, and then it's going to look up in the restaurant's database, and it's going to include the related dishes like restaurant dishes and the dish. So if nothing is found, it's going to show a not found page. Otherwise, it's going to pass it into the index.views, and it's going to display the restaurants and the dishes with the details, obviously. So moving on to our views, in the where is it? Restaurant list. I created a details.cs HTML page. Right. So this is just going to give a title called details, and then I have a container over here with the model name. So this is just going to justify the container and give the name of the dish that is going to be displayed, and then this is just the this is going to find the image, and then it's just giving the width of the image so it can be displayed. Same for the model address, and it's just formatting all the model restaurants from the database, and as well as the prices. So we have another button. It's going to take you back to the restaurant list. So what it is doing is it's going to show the restaurant name, the image, and the address. I already went over that. And it's going to list all the dishes with the names and the formatted prices. And then there's obviously just a back button to the restaurant list. And then also in my restaurant list, where is it? Over here I just added a button to view the details page over here. Now, how, sorry, how it all connects is the index page just shows all the restaurants with the details button. The details page shows the restaurant with its image, address, and dishes, and then the back button just returns you back to the index.cs HTML page. And that is about it, and I can show you the front end. So right now, yeah, we're looking at the front end, and here we can view the restaurants. Right, so here we are in the details page, and as you can see, we added more. But this is for chapter 9, so let's just focus on the core map 3. We have our details button. Once we click the details button, it tells us more about the dish and the restaurant. So you can see the address, the dishes, and the prices. And here's the image, and then you have a button that takes you back to the restaurant list. And that is a wrap for chapter 7. So right now we're doing chapter 8, and this is where we're adding sample data into the database. So remember, I am using PostgreSQL and not a SQL Server database. So we are doing great. We have our models, views, and controllers, but we can incorporate more sample data into our app. So instead of hard coding data in the context, which we are currently doing, let's open up the database in the SQL Management Studio and access the tables directly. And then we can manually add more restaurant names to the restaurant table, select edit top 200 rows. So that is what we're doing. We're just going to add sample data into the database so we can display in the front end, and that is exactly what I'm going to do in my PostgreSQL. So right now we have the PostgreSQL, and I've already done those. So I'm just going to do another dummy data to explain it properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert restaurants. So we're going to insert into restaurants the name, the image URL, the address, and the values. So right now I'm going to create a dummy data just for my demo. So we can come up with a name, dummy restaurant. Okay, after that, sorry, we have to add a image URL. So what image am I going to add? I'm going to look up an image and then we can take it from there. Just going to add that .png. We'll go and look for an image in a minute. So just add that over there. And then we have to give it an address. So 45, what's my thing? 45 Dummy Road. Okay, so let us go and look for the image. So right now I'm just going to look for an image and I'll take a screenshot and then just edit in my database. Okay, I think I found an image. So now let me just add that and then it will be ready. Okay, so I have my image, so let me just edit over here. Okay, so right now I should be able to run it. Let's fix my syntax over there. Okay, so my syntax is now correct. Now it should be in the database. I have a syntax error. Hmm. Oh, I have a syntax error with my name. Why? Oh, I see my error. I didn't run this, but I don't want to run it like that because it's going to give me duplicate. So I'm just going to copy this over here. Now I hope this should work. Okay, why are you doing that? Okay, that should work. Okay, there we got our success. Right. Now we're going to do the same. So this is where we insert our dishes. So it's going to have the name, the price, and the value. So I'm going to have to do the same thing for my dummy data. So what? Oh, price place. Call it price place. What price should we give it? About 50, I don't know, point 36 cents. Why not? Okay, just add my braces. Semicolon. That should be right. So let us just add the dummy data. Okay, perfect. It went through. So I think we should be able to see it now if I run select all from restaurant dishes. Okay, it's just giving me the IDs. Great, dummy data went through. So right now, that is where we check to join the table for the restaurant dishes. That is what I ran. And then to link the restaurant dishes. So here, let me just explain it. Restaurant ID equals 1 gets dish ID 2. Restaurant ID 2 gets dish ID 3. And then restaurant ID 3 gets dish ID 1. So this is where we insert into the restaurant dishes with the restaurant ID and the dish ID with the values. So we can give that a try now. Okay, so obviously I need to find out what is my ID, and we can see it over here. It's 11. So my dummy restaurant has the ID 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the restaurant to dishes. So I'm just going to copy this over here. Copy it and then going to paste it over here. After that, I should remove these values. Let's remove these. Now we did see it is 11. And the last one we had was 3. So I'm just going to make it 4. And that should work. Let me run it. Okay, it went through successfully. Now, that is it. for the chapter. Let me just check the textbook because it was quite a short text chapter, sorry. So just a recap before I do show you my dummy data on the front end is we just inserted our data into the database manually, and it just taught us how to connect the restaurants to the dishes using the join table. So as we inserted the restaurant dishes, linked them together, and that is about it. So now I can just run the code and make sure that my thing works. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, let us view it. Here's our dummy data, and we can also view the details. And we can see the dishes, address, and how much it is. Now, that is it for chapter 7 and 8. We will continue with chapter 9.